Hey guys, Bud here. Doing a contest entry for good old Beth over at B-Side Records. She's having a contest to celebrate 100 subs. And here we go. First of all, I have to apologize to Beth. Hey Beth, sorry I couldn't find any Queen stuff. Just don't have any. I can't even find movies that have Queen on the soundtrack. I just don't have a lot of stuff here with me, and I don't have any CDs, and I don't have any, I don't know, a few DVDs, but not many. And, I don't have any Queen on vinyl. Which is weird because one of the first albums I've ever purchased with my own money when I was a kid was News of the World. And I don't have that one anymore. But anyway, regardless, we'll do the rest of this, okay? So we'll jump right into soundtracks, and we'll start off with the Pink Panther. This is the original Pink Panther movie, the soundtrack to the movie. Good stuff. Henry Mancini, obviously. There is one thing that bothers me about this soundtrack, though, and it bothers me when they do it in soundtracks in general, when either a song from the movie doesn't appear, on the soundtrack, or they change it so that it's different than it was in the movie. And on here, I believe it is, It Had Better Be Tonight, I believe is the song. In the movie, there's a version in this, I don't know what it is, bar? I don't know. Maybe a party at someone's house. And they've got this this girl singing it, and her voice is beautiful. The version of that song is amazing. And the version on here is kind of, it's still decent, but it's kind of campy. It's kind of done with a chorus rather than a single solo singer. But yeah, good soundtrack, excellent movie, and the few movies after that were also awesome. The few Pink Panther movies after this one, very good. Alright, up next, we've got The Harder They Come soundtrack. This is an excellent soundtrack if you're into reggae or ska. I've never seen the movie, I gotta confess, but I've heard I'm really not missing a whole lot. I think I'd still like to see it at some point, but this is really, it's known for its soundtrack. It's not known so much for the film itself. But you've got great stuff on here. Jimmy Cliff, obviously. You've got the father of ska, Desmond Decker. The Maytals. The Slickers. Excellent stuff on here. I definitely suggest checking this out if you are into reggae. Alright. And last, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. One of my favorite movies ever. It's one of those movies that I still watch on a yearly basis. At least once a year I watch this movie still. And I've been watching it since I saw it in the theater in 1977 when it came out. The soundtrack's pretty cool. I don't listen to it a ton, I have to say, but it's iconic, the music to this film, and I'm sure you've all seen it. I'm sure you've all heard the soundtrack, or at least parts of it. And this guy comes with a little 45 too, which is pretty cool. It's the main theme from the 45. Pretty cool. I like it. And something horror related. This is something I've seen, I just saw recently. It's a Blu-ray that I borrowed from my brother. It's called House. It's a Japanese film. It's I hope you can see that. I hope there's not a glare. It's very campy, to say the least. If you're familiar at all with Japanese stuff, it tends to be quirky, I guess would be a good word, by our standards at least. And this, I think, is probably even quirky by their standards. But it's it's kind of a horror comedy. It's basically this high school age girl writes her aunt, who she hasn't seen since she was a little girl, and asks her if she can come and visit, and her aunt's like, sure. So she brings a bunch of her friends, and they head out to the aunt's house, which is out in the middle of the country, and then chaos ensues, demons and monsters and all kinds of stuff. But it's fun. It's definitely fun, and I recommend it highly if you've never seen it. It's called House, not to be confused with the film from America. I think that was the early 80s. The one with the guy from The Greatest American Hero in it. And Bull, that big guy from Night Court, was in it. That was fun too, but not the same movie. And this one's got a pretty interesting soundtrack. It features kind of this pop psych soundtrack, and this movie's from 1977, so you know they were definitely not with the times as far as that was concerned, but definitely fun. The music's interesting, and I suggest checking this out, Beth, if you haven't seen this yet, or any of you. All right, well, that's it. It's a short one. Beth, congratulations on 100 subscribers. I'm sure you're going to get more. In fact, I think you're probably way past 100 subscribers at this point. But I dig the channel, and very informative. You've actually turned me on to a couple of different things, including that Munsters album that you featured fairly recently that you had pre-ordered. Mine's coming at some point. It'll probably be Halloween before it gets here, but hey, it's gonna be good. Alright, thanks. See y'all later. And again, congrats, Beth.